imagine the most toxic, dysfunctional family you can possibly think of.
Right. Everyone's mind instantly jumps to that one disastrous holiday dinner.
Exactly. Now take that family, multiply the manipulation, the financial scheming, and, just the sheer theatrical drama by 100.
And honestly, you are still only hovering somewhere near the baseline of the Karamazov family.
Yeah, welcome to this deep dive. Today we have an incredible stack of source material in front of us. We're looking at excerpts from the Turkish translation of Fyodor Dostoevsky's classic, The Brothers Karamazov.
It really is the gold standard of the family train wreck. But, I mean, it is a train wreck that operates as a perfectly polished mirror for human psychology.
Which is exactly why we're looking at it. And before we even jump into the plot, I want to bring up this fascinating detail from the 1941 preface by Hasan Alyosha.
Oh yeah, that preface sets such a great tone.
Right, because he saw the translation of world classics as not just an academic exercise. For him, it was a crucial step for a nation's civilization.
Yeah, a way to actually absorb the spirit of humanism.
Exactly, to elevate the culture's intellect. So that kind of sets the mission for our deep dive today. We aren't just looking at a story, we're looking at a mirror for the human condition.
Absolutely. It forces you to confront the darkest and honestly the most hopeful parts of human nature.
Which Dostoevsky himself points out right away. In his author's note, he actually admits his hero, a young man named Alyosha, might seem a bit odd.
Yeah, eccentric even.
Right, he's not your typical great man charging in on a white horse. So today we're going to unpack the chaotic origins of this family, their clash of ideologies, and, well, a disastrous family meeting at a monastery.
A meeting that erupts into a literal and philosophical brawl.
Which is just wild. So let's look at the architect of all this frantic chaos, the patriarch, Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov.
Oh boy, Fyodor.
Yeah, he started with absolutely nothing and somehow amassed this massive fortune of 100,000 rubles. But he didn't do it by being a brilliant, respectable businessman, did he?
Not at all. I mean, he did it by being a professional leech. He is basically a master class in weaponized buffoonery.
Weaponized buffoonery. I love that.
It's true, though. Fyodor spends his life hanging around wealthy people's dinner tables, playing the sycophant, and just intentionally making a total fool of himself.
I find that mechanism so fascinating because it feels like a very modern concept.
How so?
It's like a reality TV villain, Someone who realizes that humiliation is actually a highly lucrative currency.
Oh, that's a perfect comparison.
Right. Like if you abandon all shame, you can just leverage people's disgust for screen time, or in Fyodor's case, hard cash and power.
And that complete lack of shame totally spills over into his personal life, leaving just a trail of wreckage.
Yeah, let's talk about the marriages.
Okay, so his first wife, Adelaide, comes from a wealthy, independent family. The text actually compares her to Shakespeare's Ophelia.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it points out that she eloped with Fyodor almost out of a romantic, defiant whim. She was essentially rebelling against her family.
I mean, marrying the local clown just to spite your parents rarely leads to domestic bliss.
Shockingly, it did not. The illusion shatters almost immediately. They despise each other. She finally abandons him for a poor teacher and flees to St. Petersburg.
And she dies there, right?
She does. And Fyodor's reaction to her death is one of the strangest details in the text.
It's so messy. He runs through the streets shouting prayers of gratitude for his freedom, but at the same time, he is weeping like a child.
Exactly. It's this entirely contradictory human response. But amid all that crying and cheering, he completely forgets they have a 3-year-old son together.
Little Dmitri, just completely ignored. He gets passed off to a servant named Grigory, and then eventually to Adelaida's liberal cousin, Musov.
Right, though Musov was way more interested in the 1848 Paris Revolution than raising a toddler.
Yeah, so Dmitri grows up incredibly unmoored, and you would think one disastrous marriage would be enough of a lesson for Fyodor.
But he manages to sink even lower. He targets a young orphan named Sophia.
And their backstory is just tragic.
It really is. She had been enduring horrible abuse from a general's widow, and Fyodor steps in, but definitely not to save her.
Right, he actively exploits her innocence. He turns their home into a nightmare, basically breaking her spirit entirely.
Yeah, she develops this severe nervous condition. The locals refer to her as a shrieker, which is this hysterical illness born of trauma.
And then she dies too, leaving behind 2 more sons, Ivan and Alyosha.
And the pattern repeats. Fyodor ignores them completely.
Thank goodness a kind man named Yefim Petrovich Polanov steps in to raise them. But I mean, it seems like Fyodor's complete neglect forced his sons to become wildly different extremes. How do Ivan and Alyosha actually turn out?
They are a fascinating study in coping mechanisms. Ivan processes the trauma by retreating into pure intellect.
So he walls himself off.
Exactly. He becomes brooding, fiercely independent, and this brilliant intellectual. He actually writes a mysterious article on church courts that gets everyone talking.
So he just relies totally on his own mind. But Alyosha goes the other way.
Completely the other way. Alyosha becomes a 20-year-old novice at the local monastery.
Yeah.
He is deeply spiritual and just incredibly forgiving.
The text mentions his anchor in life is this fleeting memory of his mother, Sophia, holding him up to an icon in the sunset, crying.
Yeah, he seeks out the love and structure his father never provided. And that search brings him into the orbit of a starets.
Right, a man named Zosima, who is this 65-year-old sickly monk. For you listening, we should probably clarify what a starets actually is.
Good idea. So a starets is a spiritual leader, but it's an intense relationship. It involves a person completely surrendering their own will to this elder.
So you basically give up your ego.
Yes, your ego, your daily decision-making, all of it. The logic is that by enduring this brutal submission of the self, you achieve ultimate spiritual freedom.
It's like a spiritual boot camp. And because Zosima holds such immense authority, the family decides his cell is the perfect place to hold a meeting.
Right, to settle a bitter financial dispute between Fyodor and his eldest son, Dmitri.
The hope is that just being in the presence of a holy man will force everyone to behave.
This is a terribly optimistic hope. So Fyodor arrives with Ivan, Musov, and a young relative named Kalganov.
But Dmitri is late.
He is, and Fyodor doesn't waste a single second. He immediately launches into his buffoon routine.
Yeah, he starts loudly telling this completely fabricated story about the philosopher Diderot being baptized. Musov is just disgusted.
It's incredibly disrespectful to the sanctuary.
Which brings me to a big question. If I'm Zosima, I'm throwing Fyodor out immediately. Why does a revered holy man tolerate a troll who is actively mocking him?
Because Zosima isn't looking at the clown routine. He's looking at the spiritual rot beneath it. He cuts right through the noise and tells Fyodor not to lie to himself.
Don't lie to yourself. I mean, it sounds simple, but the psychology there is profound.
It really is. Zosima explains that when you lie to yourself, you lose the ability to recognize truth in yourself or others.
And without truth, you can't have respect.
Exactly. And when respect is gone, love dies.
Wow.
And to fill that massive void of love, a person just turns to base, bestial pleasures. Zosima basically reads Fyodor's entire soul right there.
That is just a forensic takedown of a person. So while they are waiting for Dmitri, Zosima actually steps outside to bless the crowds, right?
He does. And the text paints this vivid, heartbreaking picture of rural Russian suffering. A hysterical woman is cured by the sacrament.
And then there's that grieving mother. She lost her 3-year-old son, Alexei, and she is just weeping over his little embroidered belt.
Yeah, and Zosima's approach to her is so striking. He doesn't offer empty platitudes.
Right. He doesn't tell her time heals all wounds. He comforts her by just acknowledging her unending maternal grief. He validates that pain.
And right after this raw grief, we get this huge contrast. Madame Holikova pulls Zosima aside.
She's a wealthy landowner, right? There with her paralyzed teenage daughter, Lise, who spends the whole time playfully mocking Alyosha.
That's the one. And Holikova confesses a deep, terrifying crisis of faith. She demands proof of the afterlife.
Which is a heavy demand to drop on someone. Zosima tells her the only proof is active love.
Yes, he draws a very sharp distinction between dream love and active love.
And it feels so relevant today. It's like dream love is posting on social media about saving the world and expecting instant likes.
Exactly. Dream love seeks instant glory and an audience.
But active love is like quietly washing the dishes for a sick, grumpy roommate who doesn't even say thank you.
That's a great way to put it. Zosima warns her that active love is harsh, terrifying labor and endurance.
And he says that just when she thinks her efforts have failed, when people respond with total ingratitude, that is the moment.
Right. That specific moment of despair is exactly when she will discover true, unshakable faith.
Because the ego is finally gone. It's so powerful. But then Zosima steps back inside his cell and the vibe is completely different.
Completely. Inside, Ivan and the monks are deep in this high-minded philosophical debate about an article Ivan wrote.
Right, about the separation of church and state. But Ivan flips it. He argues the state should be entirely absorbed by the church.
Yes, not the state controlling the church, but the church becoming the state.
Wait, if the church completely takes over the state, doesn't that mean we lose the entire secular justice system.
It does.
So without state punishments like prison or exile, wouldn't absolute chaos reign?
Well, Ivan and Zosima have a really radical view on crime. They argue that mechanical state punishments, like physical force or exile, they don't actually reform criminals.
They just chop off a bad limb, basically.
Exactly. It removes the threat, but it doesn't heal the soul. If the church were the state, the only punishment would be spiritual excommunication.
Which means the criminal would have to face their own conscience.
All right. They realize they haven't just broken a man-made law, they've severed themselves from Christ and society.
Zosima even argues that the Russian criminal still has faith deep down.
So the terror of that spiritual isolation is the only thing that actually transforms a soul.
It's all about the unbearable weight of the conscience. And it's so wild because just as this lofty debate peaks, reality just crashes back in.
Yeah. The door flies open and Dmitri finally bursts into the room.
The financial dispute is immediately revealed to be a total smokescreen.
It was never about the money. The real issue is a love triangle.
A father and son fighting over the same woman.
Yes. A temptress, basically, of loose morals, but very strong will.
And Fyodor has been trying to use Dmitri's debts to send him to prison so he can steal this woman.
Which is effectively destroying Dmitri's current engagement to a noble colonel's daughter.
Dmitri is just cornered. He actually screams right there in the monastery, "Why is such a man allowed to live?"
A literal threat of patricide in a holy sanctuary. The tension is just suffocating.
Okay, let's unpack the resolution to this because it is shocking. What does Starets Zosima do?
The frail, sickly Starets stands up, walks over to this furious young man, and bows down until his forehead touches the ground.
I read that and was so astonished. You have a revered holy man bowing to a chaotic, violent guy. Why? Is it submission? Like, is it just a gimmick?
It's definitely neither of those things. It is a profound act of foresight and empathy.
Empathy for the guy threatening murder.
Yes. Because the Starets isn't bowing to Dmitri's anger. He sees the inescapable tragedy coming. He is bowing to the immense, crushing suffering that Dmitri is destined to endure because of this incredibly toxic family dynamic.
Wow. It's the ultimate act of active love. He doesn't judge, he just reveres the suffering.
And the room is left in absolute stunned silence. Dmitri is so overwhelmed, he just flees.
The cycle of escalation is completely broken by a single bow.
It really is an incredible scene.
It's just a phenomenal journey we've taken today. We went from Hassan Alyosha's belief in the elevating power of literature straight through the toxic buffoonery of Fyodor.
Down into Zosima's profound challenge to practice active love over dream love.
And finally to that explosive confrontation ending in a mysterious bow. It gives you so much to mull over.
It really does.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to reflect on regarding the Zosima's bow.
It's a powerful image to carry with you.
It really is. Think about the Dmitris in your own life. The loud, chaotic, messy people we all encounter, we often judge them so quickly.
Instantly.
But what if, instead of reacting to their chaos with judgment, we recognize the deep, impending suffering driving their actions?
It completely shifts the dynamic.
Right. How would your daily life change if you approached the most difficult people you know, not with a desire to win an argument, but with the quiet reverence of active love?
It's a daunting question.
It is. But that is why we do this, because the true challenge isn't just reading world classics.
No, it's letting those classics read you.